everyone. Welcome back to episode 27 of Talkoffamepod podcast. I'm Kylie, and today we have on actress, director, host of FML Talk podcast, best-selling author Gabriella Stone. Thank you so much for coming on, Gabriella. It is such a pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I'm happy to be here.
Of course, thank you so much for coming on. So over the last year, we've been in isolation. What is something that you did over the last year that you would have had time to do before?
Well, I wrote my second book, which was a big undertaking. My first one came out in 2019, and my second one I wrote during the pandemic. So it really gave me a lot of time to really focus on and work on that I probably wouldn't have had as much time to do if we weren't locked down in quarantine.
Oh, for sure. Like, what inspired, like, I have a question about this, like, your books and stuff, but what made you kind of inspire you to write your latest book that came out in, like, a later quarantine this year?
So the first one that I came out with is called Eat, Pray, FML, and that one kind of happened to me. My life kind of exploded in my personal life in 2017, and that led me to writing the first book. The second one, I didn't know I was going to be writing, but when people started reading the first one, everyone wanted to know what happened next and how the story kind of ended. And I was still living that out in my life. So I needed to live a little bit more to see where the story went and how it ended. And I really wrote the second one for my readers because everybody wanted so much more of the story that I had put out. So it was a lot harder to write the second one. It took me a lot longer, but I think it was well worth it in the end.
For sure. Like, I mentioned before, you were like a best-selling author. And so, like, did you kind of expect a reaction that it was going to be like a bestseller, or you did not like kind of expect it at all?
Well, I wasn't a writer when I wrote that book. That was the first time I'd ever written a book. So it surprised me in the sense that, I had shifted careers, but I knew when I was writing it that it was going to resonate with a lot of women. So it didn't surprise me when it took off the way that it did.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So as I kind of mentioned before, you are an actress, author, and director. What made you want to start doing that?
My mom's an actress. She's the mom in the movie E.T. and has done a lot of horror movies over the years, probably before your time. But so I always grew up kind of in the industry and thinking that that was something I wanted to do. But it wasn't until I did my first film that I was like, oh, okay, I know I don't really want to do anything else. And then I started directing a few years ago, and that really is a different lane that I've really enjoyed, having some more control over how the product turns out and getting to be behind the camera on the creative side is something that I really enjoy.
Oh, for sure. Like as like kind of you mentioned before, your mom was kind of an ET. She was in the industry for a while. Like, what was it like for you to kind of grow up kind of in the spotlight as your mother's in the industry and you kind of growing up to like kind of her expectations or like what you wanted to be as a kid?
I had a pretty normal childhood. Both of my parents were in the industry. My father was an actor and director as well. And they made a really big effort to not have it be the Hollywood family. So if one of them took a job, the other one wouldn't work so that someone was always home, which is very hard to do in such a cutthroat industry. If someone was shooting out of town for over a week, the whole family went to go visit. So we really like kept everything pretty normal, except for the fact that I was on film sets a lot growing up.
Mm. Oh, for sure. Like, what was your kind of experience like getting to visit like sets and like you like kind of growing up, your parents being actors and being an industry? Like, was it like, difficult for you to kind of having your parents in the industry and they're always busy and like doing their own thing in the industry, like they're always busy, like kind of like normal celebrities are?
No, my mom always really made it a point to either be home for dinner, or I went to set to be with her. And there was never a time where I remembered saying, oh, I wish my parents weren't so busy, or oh, I wish they were home more. They really did a great job balancing that and made me a priority.
Oh, I love that. Like that's so kind of important like nowadays because like a lot of people in the industry they're so busy like big star celebrities that always kind of care about their fame more matter than their own families. That's also so celebrities are. And I just love how your families like take you and your family at top priority. That's I love that.
Yeah.
You have a podcast called FML Talk. How did you come up with the idea of starting that?
That actually started in quarantine as well. I had been a guest on over 100 podcasts, and one of my girlfriends, when the pandemic was happening, said, you know, you should really start a podcast. I'm sure all of your readers would really like that. And I don't know. I was like, everybody has a podcast. What am I going to talk about? Like, it doesn't really seem like something I want to do. But I was like, okay, we'll give it a try. And I thought maybe, you know, like 1,000 of my readers would come over and listen, and maybe it would help some people. And it just took off, and people started finding the podcast that hadn't even read the book, and really became this incredible way for me to continue to reach people and help them on their healing journeys. And we've created like a little community now from it.
Well, I love that. Like, did you ever think that you would ever be like a podcast host or you would
I did not. I never thought that that was going to be a thing, but I also never thought that I would be an author. I thought I was going to be an actor and director, and then my entire career shifted.
oh for sure. Like as I kind of grew up, I was always a very shy, like independent little girl. And I had so much anxiety. I never wanted to be around people I didn't know what I was in closest to. And so like it was like for me too, like I would start the podcast over quarantine. It was a couple months after, about 2 months after I got put on medication for anxiety and was at the hardest time of my life. And so like my family always often tell me like, oh Kylie, you be a good journalist, like you'll be perfect. I never took it seriously. I was like, oh, whatever, like, okay. And so like it never kind of occurred to me that I'll actually be a podcast host. Like it never occurred to me. Like I thought the entertainment industry was always kind of like a hard place to be in, and it sure is for sure. And now here I am having my own podcast, and it's something that I kind of never knew I'd do. From
Yeah,
shy young girl to now having her own podcast is so I always think like how am I doing this right now? Like I'm kind of
that's amazing. Yeah, I struggle with anxiety too, so I know all about how that goes. Um, and I think it's wonderful that you found an outlet to not only, you know, get out of your shell, but also help the people that are listening to it. That's when we can find something that helps us, but also helps others. That's when we've really found the right place to be.
oh for sure. I have some like add all your guests on your show. Like do you have a favorite or like the most like memorial guest that you had on your podcast?
Oh my God, there's been so many. We just started season 3. Our season premiere of season 3 was a man named Christopher McNeely, and he came on and opened up about being abused when he was a child, both physically and sexually by his stepfather. And it turned out to be a really powerful episode to see a man come on and talk so openly and vulnerably about what he's been through and the healing that he's done to be where he's at now. And you know, then we have some lighter, more fun episodes. My producer and I always sit down and do the question episodes where all of our listeners submit questions, and we go on and talk about that and kind of banter back and forth, which are always fun. And there's one episode that's coming up that hasn't aired yet with my friend Chris Heck. I don't know why all the ones coming to my brain right now are men, but I really have made it a point this season to bring on some strong, really respectable men, but that are willing to be vulnerable and kind of destigmatize, you know, what it means to quote, be a man, that I think we need to let go of a little bit. And he came on and really shed a lot of light on what it means to be vulnerable in a man's skin in the world today, and how we can strive to have more men follow in that.
Oh, for sure. Like I love that. Like I actually listened to that episode like 2 days ago. It was like that took a toll on me. I actually love that episode. And
Oh, great.
and based on my personal experiences, I really connected on that episode. Like I got bullied all my life, basically from who I was, and anxiety being shy was kind of different from being make everyone else. I'm a twin also, so like it's kind of based on my twin brother. Like people using, judging, and basically saying all words about me from being a twin. And so, and this is really different aspects of life. I was previously bullied by someone I was close to, like someone close to was really bad bullied. I'm scared to see him since I see him often. I won't mention who, but like it was like horrible, and it gave me kind of nightmares from doing so much, and it scarred me. And so like I just like people from bullying him, and it really took on a toll on my mental health. Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, what's wrong with me? Do I have to change? Like, what's point me being life anymore? Like,
Yeah.
are doing this to me? Like, they're not treating this to like this to my brother. Why are they treating this like me? Like to me? And so, like, what do I deserve to be treated like badly? And so, like, I always think like and to the viewers out there that's listening to this, and I always think like you are wanted. People will love you for who you are. There's no one. People might be jealous. People might think, "Oh, I'm going to take all the anger out on you." And so, like, people should never give up, even if it's like a bad situation in their life. There's always good things coming in your life, and you shouldn't give up because you're like amazing the way you are, and you should just never give up on what you're trying to do.
That's right. That's right. I'm so sorry that you went through that. I think that people hurt people when they're hurt,
Yeah.
and it doesn't make it okay by any means. But if we can look at people that are bullying us and treating us badly, and look at them and say, wow, they must be so hurt within themselves to be treating me like this. It doesn't make it okay, and it's not fair. But it allows us to have a little bit of perspective on it. I have, obviously gone through quite a bit in my life. And whenever I'm in a situation where someone has wronged me, or I have anger towards them because of something they've done, I try and get quiet and send them love, because the biggest thing that you can do to combat anger and hatefulness is to send love to that person.
Oh, for sure. So I totally agree on that. Even though bullying is such a hard thing, and people have lost many lives due to mental health bullying in so many ways. I got bullied basically my entire life, like I told you. And from my mental health, that was the reason why I became on anxiety medication, because my mental health was so bad that I got
Yeah.
medication from my friends, bullying, and all those type of things that led me to be depressed every single day, cry myself to sleep every night, like having panic attacks every single day. And so like it was like my parents didn't know what was wrong with me. Like they were like, Kylie, this is not you. You're such a kind type of person. You're happy, smiley, you are a light. And like now you're depressed. So what's wrong with you? And like it's not you. I'm like, I didn't know what's going on. I still want to admit it that something was wrong, because I didn't like to worry people. I always kept things to myself. I didn't like always kind of worried about what other people are dealing with instead of them dealing about me. And so I would like to be in front of people's attention. And so like, I didn't want people to text me every day and be like, are you okay? Don't do anything bad. Don't go, what's going on with you? Like I just never like things. And so like, that's why I always think like there's people out there that think like, oh, people are bad. There's some bad and good people in the world, and people should never give up, even if they're having struggles, like anxiety, depression, or any way mental health. They should never give up, even though I have mental health issues still to this day, with working a lot, doing my personal life and stuff. So it's like, oh, people, you are living your life. Like I will have your life, but you guys don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I
Right.
like I can be getting my mental health could be really bad, and I might be smiling, happy behind the scenes, like anything
Yeah.
for sure.
I think it's so important for people to talk about mental health and destigmatize it. And really, everybody struggles with mental health at some point in their life. I know I do. And I am a big advocate of people going to therapy and talking about their feelings and their thoughts and their issues, because the more we keep things inside, the more they're going to bubble up and be overwhelming. And it's so important to continue talking about them.
Oh, for sure. I totally agree. Do you have anyone that you look up to in the industry, or just kind of in general that you have anyone to look up to?
Yeah, definitely my mom. I mean, she's always been the one constant in my life, and I've seen her, when my dad passed when I was a little girl, she kept on going and was the strongest woman I've ever seen to continue on raising me. And she's got so much love in her heart. It inspires me to be more compassionate and more open to other people.
Oh, for sure. I love that. Like, do you like out of like your all your roles that you've done so far in your acting career, which one that stood out to you the most as kind of most memorable for you?
I did a role in a film called Swell, which is about two girls kind of road tripping, one to see find her long lost brother, and I play her friend that's kind of like going along for the ride. And I had a lot of the comedic moments in the film, which is different for me. I normally am doing heavy drama. And then there was also my character was dealing with some drug abuse addiction. And so there was some heavier scenes to do with that as well. And it was just a really special project. The girl that played opposite me and I are still very good friends, and we really like developed an incredible friendship on that set.
That's amazing. Once you kind of said that, like road tripping, like my first thought in my mind was Thelma and Louise.
Yeah.
That kind of like road trip, I was like, Thelma and Louise. Because Thelma and Louise is such an iconic film for women, especially. And like road tripping, like they're not necessarily role models in any say.
Right, right.
But
Yeah.
there's like road tripping, the way they basically jumped out a cliff at the end, road tripping. And that kind of like hit me. Like once you said that, I was like, oh, that reminds me of Thelma and Louise. It's kind of like
Yeah, everybody loves a good road trip movie.
absolutely. I'm addicted to any road trip movie since I love traveling. So I'm like, I
Yeah,
movie that includes like traveling or anything.
absolutely.
Yeah. So, what is some advice for younger generations that would like to be in the same position as you one day?
I would say make sure that you're always being authentic and acting with integrity and really keeping your heart open, because so many things can happen to us in this life that are hurtful or that make us want to shut down and close our hearts off. And we stop creating when we close our hearts off. So my advice would be to keep your heart open and do the work, do your healing work when things happen, and keep an open heart.
Love that. I love that advice. So, you started a film called Speak No Evil. What was your experience like acting in that film?
Speak No Evil was kind of like my first film that I was the main star of, where I was kind of carrying the movie. And we shot it out in Arizona, and it was a really incredible experience for me. I worked with a lot of amazing people. Actually, the guy whose episode I mentioned, Chris Heck, is someone I met on that film. And it really gave me the confidence that I could not only be a really solid actress, but that I was good enough to carry a film, which was a big thing to have for me.
Oh, for sure. So, the final question for the interview is you directed a short film called After Emma. What was that process like for you to direct that?
So after Emma was the second film I directed, and I wrote and directed after Emma. And it was an incredible experience because as a female filmmaker, to have 60 people on set that are all there to support your vision and your dream. We had, my mom played a role in it and Amy Smart played a role in it. So we had some really big name actors on screen. And it was just a really incredible process to be able to bring so many people together to have this vision come to life. We had 60% female on that crew. So we had a female line producer and some of our grips. And it was really a special experience to shoot that project.
Love that. Like these women, and especially behind the scenes and especially in little kids media, are not equally represented, and especially in all types of media. And so, like for now, like women is in front of the screen is like 2 to 1 to men, and so like
Yeah.
good to have men, like kind of men and women equal to had some same screen time, and half woman, half a man. But like,
Yeah.
what was it kind of like for you to actually kind of direct and write a film and have your own vision for a movie or a film? Like, what was that kind of experience like for you to do all of that?
Well, I wrote the script pretty quickly. I wrote it in one sitting. And to be able to produce and choose the people that you want to have on screen with you, and their supporting as far as like crew was really great. I love being able to have some more control in the process as opposed to just being an actress where you show up and do your job and hope that it turns out good.
Oh, for sure. So I just want to thank you so much for coming on. It was such a pleasure. I absolutely adore you. And I thank you so much for coming on. We'll chat soon. And thank you so much for coming on again. It means so much.
You're so welcome. And I am so impressed that you have gone through what you've gone through and are putting out content like this and helping other people, follow in your footsteps and not be afraid to talk about mental health. So congratulations. And I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So it means so much, and we'll speak soon. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.